Good Friday morning to you. It's a beautiful morning outside and the sun is shining. I just thought I'd share with you some of the toings and froings here at Bealtaine Cottage, because I've been still very immersed in the task of preparing for spring and preparing for the agricultural year ahead, in that over the next few months I'm going to be spending a lot of time outdoors, as is my need, as is my want. And in order to do that, I've got to have everything inside the cottage sorted and in good stead for allowing me just to be outside. I don't want to be thinking of things I should have done or need to do inside the cottage. So I'm just going to pull back here. This red shelving unit has come from the pantry, because I've been sorting out the pantry. Now I haven't finished yet, but I obviously have a lot of books here, and I need to make sure that this little study is well organised. So in terms of posting books out, I'm able to do it quickly and efficiently. There's Sammy Bear, who has refused to move from there. I did put his breakfast out for him and Beauty ate both plates and Sammy Bear didn't stir. Some mornings he's like this. He just gets himself into a nice chilled zone and insists on staying there. So one of the, I suppose, bookcases or shelving units from the pantry has also come in here. So you can see I've moved things around a little bit there as well. So it's given me a lot more space, and you'll be able to see what I've been doing in the pantry in a minute. The pantry itself hadn't been sorted out, gosh, in years. And so it was time to pull out furniture, to sweep behind furniture and clean down walls and so on and so forth, and also sort through all the perishable foods in the pantry. Here in the kitchen I've brought the little Georgian bench in. This was out on the veranda for years. I say it's Georgian. My brother Hugh made this for me, and he made it from 2 old Georgian doors. So it does have quite a bit of history in that wood. It's one of my favourite little seats, and I just thought it would look good there. I think it does. I think it works. And it's also quite practical, because it means that anyone who has a small child with them, they can sit there and wedge the little one in beside them. Or you could have 2 small children in there. Or you could just have one adult who wants to spread out. Why not? Now I put my coffee down a moment. The water jar I brought in here as well. More practical. So you can see I'm setting everything up for a very practical year. And then we'll go through into the pantry. Now I haven't finished in here, it's still a little bit upside down. But what I've done is I've moved the old Victorian dresser in here. That's an old piece of furniture that I've had for decades, and so I've kept that with me. I've taken out the big wine rack. Didn't really need that, because as soon as I bottle the wine it seems to go. I've got got the demijohns on there, and you can see that was the little bookcase that was in the sitting room, so it fits quite nicely in there. I may put another set of shelves on the top of that. In fact, I think I will. Pots and pans down in that cupboard there. That suitcase has got to go up into the loft, which is up there. Got to sort out these little shelves here underneath the electric oven, and then I've got to sort out the floor. So I've got quite a lot of stuff to do there. Then get that Hoover back to my daughter. The Hoover has been a great loan in terms of getting all the cobwebs out, and at this time of the year you won't really find spiders on the cobwebs. They're sort of moving around, they're coming out of hibernation, and it was more dust webs than anything else, not really cobwebs. So I've got food to go out as well. I'm going to put that out for the birds. I've got jars to go to the recycling. It'll take me, say, another day in here to sort this out, and then I want to wash down the wall there and maybe give it a little bit more paint. So that's what I've been doing. Very, very busy, as I'm sure you can appreciate. Kitchen looks quite blue in this light. So now the birds are around the feeders. And you can see the way the sun is shining now down onto the trees at the front. It's coming over the roof of the cottage, hasn't quite reached the actual earth itself here at the front. I'd say another week or so, and you'll be able to see the difference in the days, you know, with the sunshine and the way it reaches certain parts of the land. I always measure the day that's in it, the time that's in it, by the light, because the light really will tell you more about not just the months that you're in, but the time of day. So I've got my coffee. And I shall go outside. Jack's out here. I've given him some breakfast. Oh, and he's got a nice clean bowl. Did you enjoy your breakfast, Jack? Did you enjoy that? Oh, are you coming in? I'm going to just put the bowl down there. Now, let's go back out. So you can see here, out on the veranda, I've got bags of stuff to take to the recycling. I'll just sit out here now for a short while and have my coffee. There we go. Jack was getting a wee bit upset earlier on because just up there where I'm pointing the camera, you can see a crow's nest up there in that big ash tree. Now whether it was a mink or another small mammal, trying to think of the name of the other little mammal that's quite common here but not that common in the rest of the British Isles. I can't think, Jack, I can't think. You obviously saw it. But anyway, I think it had gone up the tree to have a look into the crow's nest, because it's I've noticed over the years it's gone up there stealing the eggs from the crows. And the crows get very, very angry and very upset. And so they make this very loud noise, as you can imagine. And Jack had spotted all this, because he likes to sit here, you see, and look around, and he enjoys sitting out in nature as much as what I do. And he notices birds, and he watches everything. And the next thing I heard Jack barking, and I came out, and there seemed to be a little bit of a rustling going on over there by that tree. And I think it must have been that little creature. So he was barking because he knew that the sounds that he was hearing were of creatures that needed defending. He's a brave boy. And that's lovely coffee, Jack, I'll tell you. Your mother makes a good cup of coffee. So I'm just going to sit here and let you listen to what I'm listening to. So I think it's very healing. I think the sounds of nature are very healing. Just go for a little walk round the front, Jack. I was listening to a video, well, a couple of videos recently. One is of someone who I was quite interested in listening to some time ago. But I was very, very upset and distressed to hear this person talk quite disgustingly about women and in particular about a relationship that he had. I felt actually physically sick listening to him. And then it occurred to me that this is becoming rather prevalent at the moment. There are some appalling things being said about women. And as I've said before, and those of you who are familiar with me will know, for me, how we regard humanity is very much how we regard the earth. But women in particular, because the earth has always been regarded as a female entity. So when I hear men, sometimes even women themselves, but rarely, usually men, talk so utterly disgustingly about women in public, referring to their genitalia in the most sickening ways. I am utterly appalled, sickened, and very depressed. I think it's so important to stand up for what you feel is right. And when something is wrong, it must be challenged. It simply must be. But I also think that the vocabulary of abuse towards women has been so normalised over the centuries that women, so many of us, are suffering from what is referred to as Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome. I'm not going to explain it. You can quite easily put that into a search engine and find out what it is. And I say this with a certain amount of wisdom and authority, because I was in my early 50s before I began to challenge the status quo of my own sex. There's not a lot more to say about this. I don't want to. I don't want to focus any more on it, because I find the whole subject so utterly repellent. Shame on the human race, and shame on those men who are so vile towards women. They seem to forget they have come from woman. One more thing, actually, just when I'm thinking about it. It seems to me, from what I'm discovering on social media, that many of those men who hold these repugnant views towards women and women's bodies are also those who are almost cheering on the demise of Mother Earth. They say it's the demise of the human race, but no, it's not. They're cheering on the demise of Mother Earth.